Welcome to the Deep Dive. We cut through the clutter to focus on what really counts. Today, we're looking at a really dynamic space, global biotech, specifically the Greater China market. It's complex, yes, but potentially very rewarding. And we're zeroing in on how one company, Arrowhead Pharmaceuticals, is navigating this. They're doing it through their majority-owned subsidiary, Visirna Therapeutics. Our goal here is to give you, especially if you're keeping an eye on investments, a clear picture of this strategy. We'll cover Vizirna's setup, key partnerships, big financial deals, even their manufacturing muscle. Basically, a shortcut to getting up to speed. So let's start at the beginning. Why create Vizirna? What was the thinking there?
Right, good place to start. Visirna Therapeutics was strategically set up back in 2022. It's majority owned by Arrowhead, yes, but with a very specific job.
Yeah.
Its main purpose is to develop and eventually sell Arrowhead's RNA interference therapies, that's RNAi, but specifically for the Greater China market.
Okay, so mainland China, Hong Kong.
Exactly. Mainland China, Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan. The big picture goal. For Vizirna to really become a major force in RNA therapeutics, that's a type of RNAi in that whole region.
Got it. And Arrowhead didn't go it alone, right? Vivo Capital played a role. What did they bring? Just cash?
Vivo Capital. Their involvement was, well, crucial. They came in as a joint venture partner, put in an initial $60 million for a minority stake.
60 million, okay.
But honestly, it was much more than just the money. Vivo committed their extensive network, their deep relationships within Greater China. That's gold.
How so? What kind of support are we talking about?
Things like helping recruit a strong local leadership team, people who really know the ground there, also getting involved in corporate development, clinical strategy, and importantly, navigating those tricky local regulations. And it's not just passive support. Dr. Hongbo Liu and Gaurav Agarwal from Vivo, they're actually on the Vizirna board. Direct involvement, deep local knowledge.
That makes sense. Having that kind of on-the-ground expertise must be a huge advantage, especially with Chinese regulations being different. Have we seen benefits already?
Oh, absolutely. The benefits are clear and, frankly, pretty quick. This kind of structured, localized setup is almost essential for navigating China's unique regulatory system and running clinical trials effectively. They often work differently than in the West. Take Plozasiran, one of their main candidates. It finished a phase 3 trial successfully. Then, crucially, its new drug application, the NDA, was accepted by the NMPA, China's main drug agency.
Accepted, okay.
And even better, it got breakthrough therapy designation and priority review status in China.
Breakthrough therapy, what exactly does that signify there?
It's a big deal. It signals that the NMPA sees real potential for Plozasiran to treat a serious condition where there's an unmet need. It means more intensive guidance and potentially a much faster review process. Doesn't guarantee approval, mind you, but it's a very strong positive signal and a huge boost competitively. Shows the local strategy is working.
That really underscores the value of that local know-how. Now, shifting gears to some major news, we're recording this August 1st, 2025, and today there's a big agreement with Sanofi.
Yes, absolutely huge news today. Sanofi has just acquired the exclusive rights to develop and sell the investigational drug Plozasiran, specifically within Greater China.
Exclusive rights for Greater China. What are the financials like on that deal?
They're quite substantial. Vizirna gets a $130 million upfront payment right now.
$130 million upfront.
On top of that, there's potential for another $265 million tied to regulatory milestones, basically, hitting approval targets for different uses in mainland China.
Okay, significant potential upside.
And key for Arrowhead investors, Arrowhead itself still gets royalties on the net sales of Plozasiran in Greater China. That stems from the original license agreement between Arrowhead and Vizirna. So it's non-dilutive cash coming in.
That's a very attractive structure. So let's talk about Plozasiran itself. What makes it so interesting that Sanofi would make this kind of move? What does it do?
Right. Plozasiran works by reducing something called apolipoprotein C3, or ApoC3. This protein is a key regulator of triglycerides, fats in the blood.
Triglycerides, right. High levels are bad.
Very bad, especially in certain conditions.
Yeah.
Extremely high levels, like in familial chylomicronemia syndrome, or FCS, can cause serious problems like acute pancreatitis. Plozasiran aims to lower those levels dramatically, and the clinical data looks promising. The SUMMIT program that includes phase 3 for FCS and another for mixed hyperlipidemia showed triglyceride reductions up to 80% at 10 months in FCS patients.
80% reduction. That's impressive.
It is. And importantly, it seems to have a generally favorable tolerability profile so far. Now, it's been submitted for approval for SCS in various places globally, but just to be clear, it hasn't actually been approved anywhere yet. The potential is clearly there, though.
Understood. Clinical promise, strong partnerships. But what about actually making the drug? You mentioned Vizirna has manufacturing capabilities through Langhua Pharmaceutical. Is that a big differentiator?
It's arguably one of the most critical and perhaps underappreciated parts of the strategy. Langhua Pharmaceutical acts as Vizirna's manufacturing arm. It's not just a contractor, it's integrated. They have extensive facilities in Taizhou, Zhejiang, right in a major chemical and medical base. Plus R&D centers in Shanghai, Ningbo, and Taizhou. We're talking over 13,000 square meters of advanced labs.
So, serious infrastructure.
Very serious. Multiple CGMP manufacturing workshops, that's current good manufacturing practice. Pilot plants that can handle production from kilos up to tons. Specialized GMP areas with clean rooms for APIs, the active drug ingredients, and the finished drug product. And the key thing here, especially for a global player, is compliance. Langhua has approvals from pretty much everyone that matters. US FDA, China's NMPA, Europe's EDQM, Japan's PMDA, the WHO, Brazil's Anvisa. They've passed numerous international inspections. That's world-class quality.
Having that level of globally compliant manufacturing in-house, that sounds like a massive strategic asset compared to just outsourcing it regionally.
It absolutely is. It's a huge signal in today's biotech world. It helps them avoid the typical headaches and risks of relying entirely on third-party manufacturers, especially across different regions.
What kind of risks are we talking about?
Things like inconsistent quality, supply chain disruptions, lack of control, even IP security concerns sometimes. With Langhua integrated, Vizirna has ownership, not dependency.
I see. Control is key.
Precisely. It allows for smooth regional execution without, potentially diluting global IP rights. The incentives are aligned. Science stays centralized with Arrowhead, while development and commercialization get localized effectively through Vizirna, supported by Langhua. Honestly, this setup solves a major puzzle for foreign biotechs wanting to succeed long-term in China. And assuming closacirine gets approved, Langhua is right there, ready to produce it at scale. It's a very smart, de-risked approach for the long game.
It really paints a picture of a well-thought-out ecosystem, so it's clearly bigger than just closacirine. What else is cooking in the Vizirna pipeline, and how does this all feed into Arrowhead's broader strategy, like that 20 in 25 goal?
You're right, it's definitely not a one-trick pony. Vizirna has other interesting candidates moving along. There's VSA-006, which targets 17-HSD13 for NASH age, that's non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, a liver condition. It's in phase 2.
And VSA-006 came from Vizirna itself?
Yes, originated by Visirna Biotechnology in Shanghai, which is interesting, shows their own R&D muscle flexing. Then there's VSA-012, targeting complement factor B, or CFB for PNH, a rare blood disorder. That one's in phase 1. And don't forget zodasiran, which used to be AROO-ANEG3. It targets AGPTL3 for cardiovascular disease. It's in a couple of phase 2b trials. Where it is, it's also got that breakthrough therapy status in China, so it's moving along nicely too.
Okay, so a diverse pipeline building up. How does that connect to 20 in 25?
Directly. Arrowhead's goal is to have 20 clinical candidates by the year 2025. Every candidate progressing in Vizirna's pipeline counts towards that ambitious target. And think about the funding structure again. The upfront cash from Sanofi, the potential milestones, the royalties down the line, plus Vivo's initial investment that's all non-dilutive capital.
Meaning they don't have to issue more stock to fund this R&D.
Exactly. It allows them to fuel their research and development, advance these candidates, and grow the pipeline without diluting existing shareholders. From an investor perspective, that model of growth is very attractive.
So pulling it all together, Arrowhead hasn't just dipped a toe into the Chinese market. They've built a dedicated, localized entity with strong partners, integrated manufacturing, and a financial structure designed for sustainable, non-dilutive growth.
That sums it up perfectly. This deep dive really shows a carefully crafted, multifaceted strategy playing out through Vizirna. It leverages local expertise, integrates core capabilities like manufacturing, and uses smart partnerships and deals to fund itself. It's quite impressive.
It really is. It feels like, as you said earlier, Arrowhead didn't just enter a market here. They really planted a flag and constructed a specific model. Which leads to a final thought for you, our listeners. Could this Vizirna model, this blend of local autonomy, integrated capabilities, and strategic funding become a blueprint, not just for China, but maybe for how biotech companies approach other major emerging markets around the world? Something to think about.